And welcome back to episode number 2 of YuGiohCast featuring Solemn Yugioh. I'm YugiohTube, and I hope you enjoyed the first episode. I saw on Solemn Yugioh's account there was a lot of positive feedback and a lot of great ideas and comments that everyone has made. So welcome to episode number 2. So basically what we're going to talk about today is the new news of the week with Gary V. And then we're going to get into one of my favorite sets, Invasion of Chaos. So let's start with Gary V. What do you think, Solemn Yugioh, of Gary V publicly stating that Yu-Gi-Oh is a great or a solid investment, a thumbs up going forward in the future?
Right, so I think it was 3 days ago where he uploads this Instagram video, right, where he says like, this is underrated, this is overrated, this is underrated, this is overrated. And so about Yu-Gi-Oh, he goes like, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh is underrated in X years. We'll probably have people who are now 27 or something like that who really care about these cards and are going to be buying these for higher prices, something like that. And that fascinates me because he has been getting louder about Yu-Gi-Oh lately. Like he has shared his top 10 video games for Yu-Gi-Oh and also top 10 biggest sales on eBay or something like that in the past, I want to say 31 days. So it seems he's very interested in it.
Yeah, and I found that interesting how he's into Yu-Gi-Oh as well. I will say the articles, some of the numbers are just so far off.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw it as well. Like they were oh, here's this 6K DDS, and I'm like, why would you like talk about that one? One sold for 13. Like, yeah, it missed quite a few big ones, but for me it was more about him sharing it than what's inside the article.
Yeah. Do you think it's a good or bad thing? I know it's obviously a good thing for people who have cards. Now, on the flip side, the people that want the cards, they say, oh, well, now I'm never going to be able to afford one if it's hyped to oblivion. One thing that Gary V has done, which I know you've mentioned in one of your videos, was really talk about sports cards. And once he mentions a certain player and a certain card in the sport card industry, the card itself just explodes 200, 300% overnight. In the sport card industry, which obviously isn't necessarily at all a healthy kind of increase.
Yeah, it's not very sustainable.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where people will just listen to whatever he says and just buy it just because he says he bought it. They may have no idea. So it kind of may have happened with Pokemon in the terms of with Charizards and base set, PSA 9 Charizards and all that good stuff, with everyone just buying because they just hear it's a good investment, and then it just turns out to be a disaster. And then the people who had the stuff and that cashed out on it made out well. Do you have any concerns about that? Do you feel for any of these collectors that know that, with this kind of stuff happening and these people with deep pockets? I believe Gary V is worth about 190 million. I could be wrong on that. I mean, this is an approximation. So a lot of people really love Gary V and a lot of people really despise Gary V. There's not much in between.
Yeah, I feel you. Personally, like, I will say I'm technically biased because I have been following him for 4 years, but I do think it's dangerous how people go like, oh, this is undervalued. Okay, go to eBay and boom. Whereas like he will mention, hey, before you buy anything, go put in your at least 50 hours of research before even spending one dime. But like that's not sexy, so no one listens. So people are just like, oh, Luca? Yeah, I'll buy Luca. I don't even know who Luca is, but he said it so many times that like, I'm sure it's someone that's important or something. I don't know. I'm not a sports guy. But so yeah, I feel it's pretty dangerous, but because you get like these tiny speculative bubbles and then they pop and so forth. And I'm sure like he means well, and there's certain ones he's definitely right on. But in the short term, I would feel very iffy on that type of volatility.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. One thing that he has done for the sports card market is completely blown it out of proportion. Now, obviously, it's not just Gary V. We've talked in many of our videos. I know you've had a video, I had a video, in terms of why collectibles have shot up so high. It was a perfect mix, a perfect mixture in a pot of, whether it be people being off, nothing else to do with COVID, also the disposable income, no vacations to go, no bars to attend, there's nothing happening. So people went and looked back at their cards and saw the nostalgia and wanted to get back into it. There was fear with the stock market. That was another theory where people looked at the stock market and they said, oh, this might not be good in the long term. Let me put it into some hard assets instead. Collectibles are a decent alternative investment. And there's just in Instagram, social media, Facebook, that has boomed the entire collectibles market as well. And obviously add in the fact that a lot of the consumers of this stuff, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, are getting older, more disposable income, and that should continue to roll in through. So that's something, no matter whether there's a pandemic or not, should start to continue to go well. So yeah, so with Gary V, in my opinion, do I think it's healthy? No. Do I like the fact that there's a person with $100 million that's buying this stuff? I mean, sure, if it's going to make my stuff go up in value, but obviously at the same time, I feel that I'm never going to get the cards that I always wanted, because they'll just be so out of reach at some point. But it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. So
yeah, for people who already have cards, it's like, yeah, this is great, and people who are still looking for some, it's like, no, this is awful, and there's really no in between. I mean, I guess I'm kind of in between, because there's still certain cards I want, but then my biggest collection goals I kind of already have, so I'm at least glad that before that perfect storm, I already had those. But regardless, there's still some stuff that I really want. Like, I collect tunes, and so I have my Mermaid, I have my Blue Eyes, I have my Toon Summoned Skull, but for the Summoned Skull and the Blue Eyes, I don't have them in 10s. So, like, damn, now they went up so much, and I don't have them in 10 yet. Like, I'm sure I guess my Blue Eyes Toon could come back at 10, but, that's not something you should bet on. And then the Toon Summoned Skull, it's like not gonna be a 10. So now I'm like, damn, everything boomed up. Should I even buy it still? Should I be happy with an 8 or a 9? I don't know. I feel it's like in between. I like cards going up, because obviously who doesn't like money? But then I also don't like my collection goals becoming harder.
Yeah. Well, they're not too out of reach, I assume, at this point. I know what's the Blue Eyes, like 2.5, 3?
Yeah, something like that.
And then the Summoned Skull, what do you think that's going for now?
I think I've seen a sale for 1.7.
Like, I want to say 1.5.
Yeah, like,
that's crazy.
Stupid, like, that's still a stupid price for an ultra rare from MRL right now, at least. Like, long term, I'm sure it'll be fine, but I feel like MRL is still the easiest set to get cards from right now. Like if you look for an MRD card that's like still gradable, you're just not gonna find them. LOB, forget it completely. But for MRL, I can still find plenty of raw cards in the 2-figure category for grading right now. So I don't know if you know why that is. Maybe it's a way bigger supply. I don't know the print runs. Like, I don't know if MRL was 20 times the size print run wise or something like that. I don't know if we ever got such numbers, but I don't know. 1.5, 1.7 is a figure I've seen somewhere in that range, and I found that very, very high.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, I know with MRL why there's so much supply of fresh, cards and gradable cards out there was because it had to be within, the last 3 years. Someone came in with cases upon cases upon cases of MRL on eBay for Stead. Sold the boxes. Yeah. So it was as recent as a few years ago, when collecting and Yu-Gi-Oh and grading started to get, going. It was in its infancy. Someone came out with just cases, pallets of MRL first edition, threw them up on eBay. I want to say it was like $100 a box.
Holy fuck.
And, and basically the rest is history. Now, that's why I'm so surprised that MRL is so expensive right now. I think it's kind of overvalued right now, but again, I guess time will tell. I don't know if people realize that there were just cases and cases of MRL that went up when Yu-Gi-Oh! Collecting and grading was actually starting to get popular.
Yeah, like, I didn't know about that. I just, when I look for cards, I'm like, oh, whoa, I found a raw MRD card that's maybe gradable. That's crazy. And then for MRL, I'm like, oh, there's still 20 of these. So I did have a feeling that something was up there, but I didn't actually know about the mass amount of cases still being available, well, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and again, it was like $100 a box, and it seemed like an endless supply. So that's why I strayed away from MRL at that point. That's why I was like, oh, there's just too much of this stuff, and I'm shocked it's gone up as high as it has. The same kind of scenario happened with Pharaoh's Servant, actually. not to that extreme. It was probably, I want to say, a few cases of Pharaoh Servant within the last year and a half, maybe. So I thought that would slow Pharaoh Servant down a little bit. That hasn't really happened. Obviously, Jinzo, I still think long-term is one of the best buys, anyone could really.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's also like, I want to say MRL is way more niche, because like a lot of its chase cards aren't chase cards for everyone. Like, you have a crazy dude like me who's like, whoa, tunes! But when so many of your high-end cards are just tunes, that's still, like, really limiting it. Whereas Jinzo, almost everyone can agree, whoa, what a sick card. So...
yeah, it was a sweet card, yeah. So there's some interesting stuff there. Now let's move on to the second topic of this podcast, which would be the Invasion of Chaos set. So basically, if anyone's following and saw the first episode, we talked about LOB, Blue Eyes White Dragon, all that stuff, but we're kind of beating a dead horse at this point, and we feel like every video is LOB, LOB, LOB. What we plan to do for the rest of this quote-unquote mini-series is go through each set, evaluate the set, look at each holo, and say, okay, what do we think? Do we think it's overvalued, undervalued, goodbye, all this good stuff. So we're going to go through Invasion of Chaos right now. It was a tough decision for me between DCR and IOC, but I went with IOC. So I'm looking at the checklist now, and starting with the super rares, we'll start with the least. I mean, Chaos Rider, Gustav, no one really cares about that. Just going.
I think he's pretty cool, honestly.
Do you? Yeah, maybe it's just like I didn't even. Maybe I kind of passed by the artwork. Like it was basically like a biker, right? Is that?
Yeah, he's a biker. I think because again, I'm like a bit of an edgelord, so to me that's like, whoa, what a cool card. But I'm sure others maybe don't agree. So.
Yeah. Well, what would you say a 10 on? I mean, a 10 on that would probably be between 50 and 100. I mean, most supers, I imagine.
I actually don't know current prices for that. Maybe I'll be the guy to look up prices while you name, because like obviously I didn't check every single super rare for that. Let's say there's actually none available right now. So.
One side note, too, is the populations, and I know I'm backtracking, just populations of Magic Ruler and the 10s are very high as well, and that's because of the influx of cases that went onto the market. IOC, the populations of 10s, I want to say, are very small compared to a lot of other sets, even with the supers and stuff like that, so it's just something to note there.
So one thing, I have the... Chaos Rider here, the PSA 9 is only $24 and there's 3 listed.
Oh boy.
So it's definitely not a big money card right now, so let's just keep it at that. I don't think we can really price check every single card. Maybe we can, I don't know, because we spent 3 minutes on Chaos Rider Gustav. If we do that for 20 cards, we might have a very long episode. But yeah, I think Gustav is cool, but I wouldn't go out to buy it right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think we'll get more in depth with the big boys, the big three.
Oh yeah,
in this
absolutely.
Set. But so we're just gonna kind of roll through a little bit of the supers. DD Scout Plane, the same kind of deal. Again, I wish I had the populations right now. For the next episode, I think I should just print out like the populations of the holos in 9s and 10s, just so it'd be interesting to look at.
Yeah, Scout Plane is boring.
Boring, super boring. Freed the Brave Wanderer. It's a cool art. I like the art, but again, I'm not seeing any real crazy numbers there. Wild Nature's Release, again, cool art with Berserk Gorilla. I like that card again, but there's no reason why it shouldn't be $50 to $100 at the max. DD Designator, that is a pretty boring card. I mean, again, cool art, boring. Reload, really boring. Actually, a useful card in decks, but again, no one big.
One thing I do want to say about Wild Nature's Release, as far as I'm aware, it was used by Chumley in GX, so that made me like the card a bit more. Maybe that's something, but I doubt it's gonna be a heavy hitter.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it is cool because I was always a fan of Berserk Gorilla and all that stuff, so it's cool art. Big Burn is probably one of my least favorite cards of all time.
Oh yeah, it's so boring to me, but
it's just like a mix of colors. I'm like, no, this is terrible, terrible card. And it was a horrible card in terms of using it, from what I understand. Let's see here. I'm going down the list. That might be it.
Orca, Mega Fortress of Darkness.
Yeah, that again, it's cool. I think I actually sold a 10 of that for like $100. I want to.
Oh, I think that's actually a really cool card, honestly. Like, if I had to pick a super in this set, that might be the one.
Really? Yeah. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I probably would go Wild Nature's release, personally.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Orca's a cool one. Let's see here. And Trap Jammer. Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, there's also Dedication, True Light and Darkness.
That by far is the best one.
Probably the most exciting one, because you have our Chaos Baby on there.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I'm a big fan of that card. And then Trap Jammer, is pretty poor.
Yeah.
yeah. So Dedication, Through Light and Darkness, actually, going back at it, would be my favorite super from the set. I mean, the artwork with DMOC, you can't go wrong.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would say Orca and then Dedication if I had to put it in order, but
yeah, and I was surprised. I remember having a few gems of Dedication and then selling the spares, and like there wasn't that much interest at all. Like it was $80, like $70. I was surprised. I was like, yeah.
I think it's because Magic and spell cards overall are just very underappreciated.
True. I mean, I don't want to, again, go beat that dead horse again, but Raigeki and Polymerization as 10s, they're exceptionally cheap for what they should be at, in my opinion. So, let's see here. All right, so now let's go to the Ultras, and this is where it gets very exciting. Strike Ninja, that's one of my favorite Ultras, like, I feel like of all time. It's just a cool...
Oh, really? Yeah, I think he's real cool. I think the first time we saw him in the anime was with the Dice guy, no? Maybe I get that completely wrong, but I recall the Dice guy using him. I thought it was real cool.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. And actually, before the whole boom, I want to say that Strike Ninja, I know I sold, like, again, I had like 2 or 3 at one point, and I sold them for, well, I want to say like $225, $250. So there was some value there, for sure. Let's see. Coming up. Oh, well, we'll save the big 3 for last.
Oh, okay. I was looking like, oh, here we go. But okay, let's keep him for last.
Mirror Force. Dark Mirror Force is actually a very cool card. I remember selling that one for a ton. I want to say it was $500-600.
Really? That's really weird to me, honestly. Because, like, Dark Mirror Force actually doesn't excite me. So that's odd.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with that is it's very low pop. I want to say the pop is in like the single digits.
Oh, okay. That might actually be a pretty good reason. Yeah, personally, like, I agree spells and traps and such are underappreciated, but Dark Mirror Force never really spoke to me much. So I assume we're keeping all 3, so then the next one would be Manticore of Darkness, right?
Yes, Manticore. Yeah, that is a sick card. That is a sick card.
I agree.
That is super nice. And one thing I noticed about that specific card was the centering on it, and a lot of them wasn't great. Just from my observation. That's got to be a low pop 10 as well. Black Tyranno, another super cool card. Honestly, yeah, the Ultra, even the other Ultras in this set, just...
Yeah. Actually, Black Tyranno, as far as my memory serves, was the first Ultra I ever pulled. Because, like, I wasn't a mega wealthy kid or anything, so it's not like right now where I can go, oh yeah, I'll buy 5 cases of this. It was like, oh, I have 3 packs. Crazy. So, pulling an Ultra yourself was just almost not a thing, and so Black Tyranno was actually the first one I pulled. So, love that card a lot. It's so cool and aggressive. And again, edgy.
Yeah, I love it. It's super cool. I know that, like, I want to say the 9s were going for like $80 or something around there. But, you know, it's warranted in my opinion. I just had it in my deck at one point because it was just too cool. Like, I was like, this card is going to, like, screw me over, but I was like, screw it. Put it in the deck.
So the 9s are currently listed for $125 and $150.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's quite high for not. And then, is there any 10, or are there any 10s, or?
There's a 10 listed for 520.
Oh yeah.
Yes, which is, I mean, arguably, given that it's a vintage card, like a very cool one, I don't think that's actually super high for a 10 either. Maybe that's controversial, but I think that's like not a bad price at all.
Well, what's crazy is the packs. IOC, the packs are what now these days? Like a first edition pack is it close to $100? I mean, I would think for sure it could be close to $100.
None are listed. Let's see. Actually, it might actually be Invasion of Chaos first pack. Sold for 130, 115, 140, so around that.
Wow. Yeah, they're actually above 100 now. So yeah, when you consider in the fact that probably a scaled pack is $100, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, you gotta wonder what a box actually. Well, we're on this topic. Has there been any box sales like documented? Because the one thing with IOC is I feel like the box sales, there's never any completed sales. It's just someone puts it up for a crazy number and then it never sells, and then that's.
Yeah, there's one up right now for 15,000. Sold none. So yeah, we don't actually have any decent price because none have sold. Oh, actually, on October 18, one sold for 6,600.
That's honestly not a bad buy in my opinion. It really is not.
I agree. And like considering that price, I don't think a PSA 10 for 500 is that outrageous either for an Ultra that's like actually really cool.
Yeah. I mean, you can never go wrong with any Ultra 10 from that set. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's not bad actually. The 6K. Crap.
You're like, damn, could have bought that.
The price of one LOB compared to they could get you probably 3 to 4 IOC boxes.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy. Yeah, and I'm a big IOC fan. There's just so many great cards.
Oh yeah, I feel you.
Insect Princess, one of the worst cards ever. That is the worst card ever.
Really, I like it.
Oh. I mean,
but it's good.
It's good that we have this agreement here, because like that way we have maybe some discussions. I think it's a cool card.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm just not a simp for the Insect Princess. I just can't. She just doesn't tickle my fancy. Tickle my pickle, I guess. It doesn't.
I see. I mean, it's super personal, right? I just really liked Insect archetype back in the day, so Insect Princess is part of that. I also like Insect Queen. So I like this card. I don't hate it. I would say I hate Dark Mirror Force far more.
Wow, I'm the total opposite. I'm like, yo, Dark Mirror Force is badass, and I'm like, Insect Princess, absolutely not. Like, if I had a pack to open and I pulled Insect Princess, I'd be so just bummed.
Ship it to me, man.
Yeah, honestly. I know Ian, the old school expert, I remember him pulling Insect Princess from his packs, and he was so pissed. He was like, oh, God.
We'll see what she's worth right now, okay? Insect Princess first PSA. Okay, oh, that's actually cheap. Holy hell! So you can get a 9 for $93. Oh, you can get a 9 for $60. She's cheap. Holy hell!
Yeah, I remember buying or selling a 10. It was probably $130, something real low. I was like, I need to get rid of this card. I can't. I think I sold it to Tony. Tony actually wanted it, I believe.
When was that? Because a 10 sold yesterday for $480.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, that was way before this whole boom. It was probably within like a year or a year and a half ago. It was probably a year ago.
I see.
Back then, obviously, a lot of these cards were not worth what they're worth now. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but yeah, that hurts. But yeah, it is. I don't miss her, so I'm not too devastated. Yeah,
right.
It's weird though, because I like Insect Queen. What? Insect Queen is sweet. I love Insect Queen, but I just don't like Insect Princess. I don't know.
I think because Insect Princess isn't like evil looking, whereas Queen is evil looking. Maybe that's something.
Perhaps. Yeah, or maybe it's just the fact, like, if I pulled an Insect Princess, then I'm just disappointed it wasn't, like, the big three from the set. And maybe that just has something to do with it. I don't know.
I see. It's kind of like pulling Gaia. You're like, damn, this could have been a Blue Eyes, but instead it's a Gaia.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Yeah. So 400 for the 10 of Insect Princess. Wow. Huh.
480, so that's almost 500.
That makes the Black Tyranno look that much more intriguing.
Yeah, actually, 520. You're only paying $40 more for an arguably cooler card. Because, like, if I had to pick, obviously, I'd still go for the Tyranno.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So why don't you like Dark Mirror Force? Like, what is it about it? It just doesn't.
I don't know. It's just like a. it's like an ugly dark hole. And Dark Hole to me was like, whoa, iconic, it's super powerful. As a kid, you played with it, it was destructive. And me as a kid, I would read Dark Mirror Force, I'm like, wow, no one puts their monsters in defense anyway. So, you know, it's just a childish and naive in me that's like, wow, this card sucks. So that probably created maybe some imagery in my head. But yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't excite me as much as some of these other iconic spells and traps and magic cards.
No, there's no doubt that the card was terrible. And I mean, compared to Mirror Force, like Mirror Force was an amazing card. Dark Mirror Force was so bad compared to Mirror Force in terms of what it did. It was basically useless in decks. But for me, like growing up, I always wanted it because I had Mirror Force at the time, and I wanted Dark Mirror Force to kind of just have it in the collection. Just because it was just super cool. Like kind of you know, the opposite of it's light and darkness, you know. So I don't know. But again, the effect was so bad. I would never have put it in my deck because it was terrible. But
yeah, you just wanted to like have the chaos where you have the light and dark, just like this set. So maybe that kind of works out.
Yeah, that was actually one of my like. I probably at the time wanted it more than like DMOC, which is crazy to even think about.
Whoa!
Like when I was a kid, like I was like, I want the Dark Mirror Force, but I never pulled it. You know, like a lot of kids, we were lucky to get probably a few packs growing up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a big deal. So what's next? What do we got next?
Levia Dragon Daedalus. That card is sick.
It's cool. It's cool. It's just again compared to I feel like the rest of the cards in the set, I'm just not into it.
Oh, really? I think it's a really cool card, honestly. But I really like water as a typing. So like I said, the Orca also excited me. This Daedalus excites me. I had the structure deck, and you had this one in, I want to say, common version in there. And so I loved the card so much because of that. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind having it in Ultra. I think it's a cool card.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I could see it. I actually prefer Orca compared to Daedalus.
Oh, okay.
If I had to choose, but I could see where you're coming from. Guardian Angel Joan, I love that card. I love the card. I don't know why. I just love the card.
Simpery.
Oh, I'm a super simp. I'm a super simp.
But honestly, this card kind of bores me.
Really? Wow. So that's interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, that's good, right? Imagine if every collector wanted the same card. That would be really, really bad for prices.
No, that's super. Put in the comments, guys, down below. Do you like Guardian Angel Joan? Do you like Dark Mirror Force, Insect Princess, and then Daedalus? Give us your opinions on those 4 cards. I'm curious to hear. Obviously, I think everyone likes Black Tyranno. I don't think anyone that cannot like that card. It's So it's just too boring? Is that what for you?
I guess, like, I don't hate it. It's not, I don't hate it like you hate Insect Princess. just to make that clear. But it kind of just leaves me cold, you know. When I have to rank them, I would definitely put this somewhere like in the middle or maybe bottom 40%. Whereas you maybe put it somewhere in the top right under the top 3 or something like that. I will say though, I do want the giveaway version. Like the sweepstakes ones?
Yeah, actually, that's another thing we could discuss. I guess if anyone's, hearing about the giveaway stuff, very quickly on Instagram, Konami has been giving away, the first card was United We Stand, second card's Guardian Angel Joan, in a prismatic rarity with a blue text. Supposedly, the United We Stand was limited to 300. The rumor is Guardian Angel Joan is also limited to 300. You'd have to post a photo on Instagram of you doing something Yu-Gi-Oh! Related or whatnot. And and then yeah, so then you'd be entered, and if you win, you'd get a message and whatnot. So I guess stay tuned. There's probably more coming, so that should be really cool. Very cool little piece of news there. Is that all the old Dimension Fusion is the last one? Is it the last one?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's the last one.
That one's boring to me.
Really? I think it's cool. Dude, we're like the opposite. Like, okay, so maybe I'm biased here because, again, I played competitively around Dark Armed, and so this card was just utterly broken. Like, you would banish so much stuff, or will remove from play, and then activate Dimension Fusion, and you just win every time. So, I guess maybe how broken this card was has given it more power in my mind. Maybe I didn't actually find it all that cool when I was a kid, but I don't know, right now I'm like, whoa, that was an insane card.
Yeah, the fact that I stopped playing around like GX, like you know, that probably there's probably so many cards that were so useful, and I feel like I don't think Dimension Fusion was useful in the old format. I don't know about that. I'm not 100% sure. I mean I wasn't like a super competitive player. I wasn't playing at tournaments. I kind of just was playing like the basics.
I see.
So I'm wondering if it was actually relevant. And
maybe in a Chaos deck, like you still banished quite a bit or will removed from play. I don't actually know. Like I only got back into GOAT format recently, so my mind is a little foggy on that. But I know like in Dark Arm days, it got banned because of how insane it was. So
yeah. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so that took us through. I think the Ultra discussion was that was cool. Like, no, at the end of the day, supers are just kind of like take it or leave it for most of them. But the Ultras in this set were, overall, the Ultras were just amazing in this set. There were so many solid Ultras.
Yeah.
And also so different. Like you have people who can love some and hate some, and they can have completely differing opinions, which I find really fascinating.
And there's just a lot of different, like it went from insects to water creatures to dinosaurs to eventually
ninjas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a pretty to angels to fairies. You know, it was crazy. So that brings us to the big three, and I guess this one you don't actually know on those last two cards, Dimension Fusion and Guardian Angel Joan. Do you know how the sales data? Is there any sales data?
Let me check. Guardian Angel Joan, first PSA. A 9 sold for 72.
Okay.
And then... oh, but another 9 sold for 125. So, you know, you could have some play there. And then for Dimension Fusion, I bet it's way lower because it's a spell or trap. Oh, a 9 actually sold for 150.
Wow.
Whoa. That is crazy.
So I guess there's some big fan of Dimension Fusion out there who was willing to pay that. So, one thing we should mention before the big three is perhaps the other secret rare in the set, Invader of Darkness.
Yes. That is a card that most people, from my understanding, love the card. I like the card. I think the fact that it wasn't useful in decks, kind of similar to what you were saying, like it wasn't useful to decks, and then so I didn't really, kind of like with Dark Mirror Force, I just didn't find the appeal with it. And again, it was with a secret rare that I didn't want. So when I was a kid buying Invasion of Chaos, the goal would be Chaos Emperor Dragon, obviously, and then when you get Invader of Darkness, it's awesome, but it's so less than Chaos Emperor Dragon. What do you think?
I actually agree with you. Invader of Darkness, like I get it has this maybe cult following of fans, and I get that because it's like a cool card, but it's not exciting me in the same way as a lot of other cards. So it's like the Tri-Horn Dragon of the set, I want to say.
Yeah, and what's weird is I just going back to LOB, I wasn't a fan of either of them. I wasn't a big fan of Guy the Dragon Champ or Tri-Horn Dragon in general. Like I don't know why. I just wasn't a huge fan of either. But going back, I don't know. Were you a fan of Tri-Horned or Guy the Dragon Champ?
I wasn't like a mega fan of either, but I would definitely choose Gaia over Trihorn.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah, with Invader of Darkness, yeah, it's cool. And I like those Halloween kind of setting cards. Like that is a perfect Halloween card. Anything with skulls is awesome. But I found it so useless.
It seems people agree with us on Invader of Darkness, because a 9 sold for 60 and a 10 sold for 400.
Wow. Yeah, I remember I sold my 10. It had to be a year ago before the whole boom. I think it was to Petty Party, actually. Pretty sure.
Oh.
And it was like $400 or something. So it obviously hasn't moved after the.
I see. That's interesting. There's not a lot of cards you can name that like didn't move much if they're from the first sets. So that's interesting.
What's weird was that raw cards of Invader of Darkness were so cheap. Like, even as Invasion of Chaos, like, boomed, completely skyrocketed in first ed. Like, you could pick up a raw, near mint Invader of Darkness, like, $4 shipped. $4 or $5. And I'm like, that is exceptionally cheap. It's still a secret at the end of the day from Invasion of Chaos, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what the raw... I'm sure the raw cards had to go up from $5. It was just way too cheap for a little while there.
I can check. Let's see. Invader of Darkness first. Very light play for 26. Another raw for 18. Heavy play for 7. Near mint for 25. So they're still quite affordable, I want to say, but definitely not the 5 anymore that you were used to.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was never, and for whatever reason, I felt like that was a card I pulled constantly, because I think I went hard on Invasion of Chaos when I was younger, because there were just so many good cards in it. So I was always just like, Invasion of Chaos, if I ever see it, I'd buy it, like if I could afford it. And then everything I pulled was Invader of Darkness, and I was like, why is this happening? Well, because I was buying the blisters. At Targets, Walmarts. How is it in Belgium? Did you guys, I assume, have Targets, Walmarts, all that other stuff?
Oh no, it's called Dreamland. It's a toy chain. I don't know if it actually goes beyond Belgium, and Belgium is a very small country, so it's definitely not the mega corporations. I don't recall ever seeing any blisters. We just had the packs, and that's it. Like the packs out of boosters, obviously. And even those packs, they had to put in like thick plastic cases with special chips on them because they were constantly being stolen. So you would go to the what's the name? The person who you buy from, and they would have to use like a special key to open the special brick so they could pull the one pack out, because otherwise they all got stolen.
Wow. So even if the pack was like $4, they did all this security.
Yeah.
Wow. Because you see that with video games here. I know with like Xbox, PlayStation, all these video games are all behind the glass. There's a key that they have to open it up, and then they're also within a plastic that needs to be opened as well. I thought that was a little extreme for video games, for $50 games, let alone for $4 booster pack.
Yeah, no, we had that system for boosters. Pretty crazy stuff.
Wow, that's crazy. So you never even have you gone into Targets or Walmarts? They don't exist in Belgium over there?
They don't exist in Belgium, yeah. So I've been to a Walmart last year. Yeah, last year in December, so about a year ago, because there was a big Vanguard event. And so I was being flown out there, and so that was my first time in California and actually going into a Walmart. So I've been in them, but obviously, like back in the day, I haven't. So I don't know what that used to look like, basically.
Huh. Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, back when I was younger, they had a ton of blisters. I mean, and every time I saw Invasion of Chaos, which was quite often, I would just buy like as much as I could afford at the time, which was a few packs. But yeah, no, that explains to me why I kept pulling Invader of Darkness, is because I just kept buying blisters, and there was no chance. And I had no idea back then, so.
Yeah, of course. I don't think anyone knew like what the actual plans behind the scene were for that.
Yeah, yeah, and it is crazy how Upper Deck at the time, when Upper Deck had rights to Yu-Gi-Oh with Konami, I guess they had a partnership. I assume that's what how the business deal was working. They did short print other cards and other sets. So, for example, and I know we'll get to this probably in a whole nother video, but Dark Arm Dragon, I believe, was only in hobby booster boxes and not in blisters. But that could be wrong. I know in Gladiator's Assault, Necroface, what's the other big card from that? Magic Formula. Those cards, from everything that I've gathered, all the data are only in the booster boxes. So,
Oh, that's interesting.
Upper Deck, yeah, and I know with Gold Series, the original one, Upper Deck short printed, extreme short printed a Crush card.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, so Upper Deck has done things. Oh, and obviously with GX, you got the hobby and retail SKUs where, you know, you can only pull ultra ultis in the hobby and actually super ultis in the hobby and not in the retail SKUs. So that was actually pretty rough for collectors. No one knew back then with retail and hobby. So
It's quite odd. I don't think it was the same in EU actually, because I recall my brother finding a little kid with a Dark Arm Dragon in the playground. A first edition French Dark Arm Dragon. And so we had no Walmart or stuff like that, but we also really didn't have any major LGSs, I want to say. And so how could we have hobby boxes?
yeah, and what's odd is with Rise of Destiny, for example, someone just messaged me the other day and they said, "Oh, here's my box code. Is it hobby or retail?" And it was one that was totally different, and it's assumed that that was the European print. And everything we gather is that the European prints, there is no hobby or retail. It's kind of hit or miss. You could get two rares as two ultimates. You could get two ultras as two ultimates. You could get a mixture. So that's just an interesting fact. So that it appears that in Europe, they did not short print really. They kind of just mixed everything together. Whereas in the US, they really separated everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it feels like, at least. Like we had no local game stores whatsoever, so I can't imagine us, like we had nothing that would get hobby boxes essentially. So I don't know how a random kid in the playground would have the card. But
yeah,
maybe we should move towards the top three, because I'm sure we have a lot to talk about there as well.
yeah. So let's go to the top three. In my opinion, Black Luster Soldier, Dark Magician of Chaos. I think Black Luster Soldier would be the one that will top everything. But at the same time, Dark Magician of Chaos is a cover card. What do you think of the top three? How would you rank the top three?
Oh, that's hard. Okay, so very controversial statement. I think Black Luster Soldier's face is weird. I love the card. It's insanely broken. It is so insanely powerful, so iconic, epic pose, but the face always was like a little weird to me. So I will put Dark Magician of Chaos above Black Luster Soldier, despite its power level not being even comparable. And then Chaos Emperor is a hard one for me, because I do think it is the coolest looking art of the three, but I'm also not huge into dragons usually. Like, usually dragons feel like trying too hard, but this one, I don't know. It's very hard. I kind of want to say Chaos Emperor, then Dark Magician of Chaos, then Black Luster. But from an iconic power level, it would be Chaos Emperor, Black Luster, Dark Magician of Chaos. I don't know. What's your take there?
You know, for the value, the spectator value, I want to disagree with this, but I can't. I agree with you 100%. I think Black Luster Soldier is an amazing card. It was an amazing card to play, but I do agree that there's something weird about Black Luster Soldier, or it just doesn't look as cool as Dark Magician of Chaos. Without a doubt, though, for me, Chaos Emperor Dragon, put it at the top. Like, without a doubt. There's nothing to me, like, I just always was enamored with that card. I am a Dragon fan. And that card just broke games. Like the card was so good. Back in the day, everyone wanted that card. Yeah, and in Dark Magician of Chaos, it's a cover card. It's an iconic card, so I got to put that one second. BLS, I got to put third. I actually like the starter deck Black Luster Soldier more than the Envoy of the beginning.
Oh, that's interesting. That's maybe I agree, but like I think my mind is being clouded because Envoy of the beginning was also such a powerhouse, whereas the starter deck one was just complete garbage. So maybe my mind is clouded there. I don't know. Maybe I agree, maybe I don't. I'm actually not sure. I'll get back to you on that next week.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question though. Like any one of these three cards, I would be thrilled to have in a collection. And actually, I don't know if we've seen the latest values of these cards. From myself personally, I know the 9s of Chaos Emperor Dragons have been around 600, maybe even more now. The 10s, from what I'm hearing, could be between 2 and 3K. Probably more toward 2.
So a 9 sold for $1,000.
$1,000.
Yep. Actually, no. I do want to say it's best offer accepted, so it's probably slightly below it. Just saw that. So best offer accepted 1,000. It's probably slightly lower. We would have to check Slabwatch, and then on November 24th, a 9 sold for 600. So, and then on November 5th, another sold for 700. So I agree with you. It's probably slightly above 600, I want to say, right now.
Okay. Wow, that's still, I mean, that's going up. And that's one of the cards, in my opinion, on this whole show, one of the most undervalued cards, in my opinion, is that. I think it's extremely tough to grade. It's always off-centered. That card is historically off-centered. The population on that card is extremely disproportional in terms of 10s, 9s, and 8s.
It's funny you say that because I'm actually sending in an off-centered one on my next submission. This is a spoiler alert because I haven't uploaded my next sub. But yeah, there is a Chaos Emperor Dragon in that, first edition IOC. And it is off-center because I literally couldn't find a cleaner raw than that. And I know it's not a 10, but I still want it, so...
Yeah, no, I mean, those cards are always off-center. And another thing with Invasion of Chaos is there's a lot of surface issues on the entire set. There's a lot of, like, pack waxing on the back that a lot of people see. The set as a whole is tough to grade, but specifically Chaos Emperor Dragon, if you go to the pop reports, if anyone in the comments section wants to comment down below with the ratio of 10s, 9s, and 8s, you'll see some numbers that make the 10s look extremely enticing in terms of rarity. I think it's a perfect mix of rarity and demand.
Yeah, I actually have sent in a BLS as well. I want to say in May, but it's not coming back yet because, well, PSA is PSA currently. But it also had back issues, so it's possible that it's not coming back all too pretty, but we'll see. I still wanted to try.
So, also, yeah, go check out Solemn Yugioh. His channel's down in the description, and he's got some great content. Do you plan on doing PSA returns as well on your channel?
Yeah, but like the first few that I'll be getting back soon are not the hottest. Oh, I mean, actually, they are quite hot. Like, it started at Kaiba first edition and so forth. So it's definitely like cool, but it's European. So they're like, you know, I wanted them in my collection, but they weren't, whoa, $2,000 card. Like, actually now, maybe starter deck Kaiba European might be, but I don't want to get into that. But yeah, but I will be doing PSA returns, especially once I get my bigger ones back. Like, there's a Dark End waiting. There's a Dark Magician Girl MFC first waiting. So yeah, I do want to cover that because I do also feel it's very exciting content, you know. Like, I sometimes want to cover the fundamentals, but that doesn't actually tend to get as many views because most people just want to see exciting returns. It's kind of like a pack opening, but all over again, if that makes sense.
So I do want to start showing that off.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, Chaos Emperor Dragon. So do you have a 9 or 10 at all of it, or?
I sadly don't. That's the biggest sad. I wish I did, but yeah, I'm literally depending on on this raw one to do decently. But we'll see.
Yeah, Dark Magician of Chaos. What is it? That I know the 10 or the 9s I want to say are what, like 3 to 400. The 10s are, I want to say 14, 1300, 12, 13, 14.
Let's see. Dark Magician of Chaos. There haven't been any sales. No, only 2017 ones sold for even stupid prices. Let me check what they're listed at. So a 9 is currently listed at 671.
Wow.
Yes, but not sold, so who knows what it's actually supposed to be, but...
Yeah, I think I sold my 9, I want to say, maybe 6 months ago I sold it for like, and it was in the 3s. Maybe the high 3s.
Oh, in October a 9 sold for 179. That's a steal.
First Dead?
Yeah, First Dead.
Oh, that's a steal.
Yeah, and then one day before that, a 9 from BGS sold for 350.
Wow.
And then another one for 400 a few days before that. So yeah, the 179 is probably just an outlier, just a lucky person, because everything else has been in the 300s.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, and I assume a 10 would be, my assumption is like 1200, 1300. That's from what I was hearing.
I haven't seen any. Oh, right here in September, best offer accepted 1.7. So it's a bit lower than 1.7 probably. But you would have to check Slabwatch to be sure.
Gotcha.
I mean, I technically can, right? What's its... Oh, I don't have its number. Oh, well, other time.
Yeah. Black Luster Soldier, I've always found that card was more than Dark Magician of Chaos. Higher value. I'm actually curious to see what the 9s and 10s are. I haven't checked that specific card in quite a while, I feel.
So a 9 ended for 647 last week.
That's a lot of money. That's more than I remember it being.
Yep. In October for 435. A BGS 9. Oh no, that's a collector's rare, this one, so ignore this one. Oh, actually, October, a 10 sold for 3,000.
Whoa, straight out 3,000. No best off?
Yeah, it doesn't say best offer or anything, just 3,000.
Wow. Now, one thing to note is if someone messages, for example, let's say you have a card listed on eBay and they say, can you do it any better on price? You could reply on eBay with an offer. Let's say it was 3,000. You could say, okay, 2,000 reply via offer, and then they'll accept it. It will say 3,000 it's sold for on eBay. So that is just one thing to just keep an eye out for. Yeah, I'm sure, but just for the viewers that might not know and might say, oh man, it's sold for example, there's a card for like 10,000, and they said, oh my gosh, it sold for 10,000. You don't necessarily know that. I would just go based on other sales as well. So that's why it's important to have so many.
Oh yeah, you definitely want many. It's also important to note like how a card can sell on eBay and then not get paid, but it like can still be here in sold listings a while, right? As far as I'm aware, or will it not show up at all? I think it does.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that about covered it. It seems to me like the 3,000 is pretty high, but you never really know.
I agree, it's quite high, and it's only the one-off, so it's really hard to say. If there was another one around that range, I'd be much more inclined to agree, but when it's only one, it's a bit harder.
And that, again, makes the sealed box at 6, or 6.5, really not a bad option. Because there's just so many cards, in my opinion, that... You never found what the 10 Chaos Emperor was, right? It was just the 9s.
Oh, no, I did. I think it was 2.7, but I can check again if you want.
Okay.
Sold for... Yeah, 2.7. October 18.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. I remember, it was probably a year ago when those cards were like 1,000, maybe $1,200 in 10.
Yeah, prices have been so crazy. Like, certain cards have tripled in a month, which is like, I don't know if that can keep up.
No, yeah. So, people watching, listening, comment below. What's your favorite cards? How would you rank the big three? Would you say Chaos Emperor, Dark Magician of Chaos, then BLS, or totally different? And again, feel free to put your comments down below. Solemn Yugioh, again, go check out his channel. He's got amazing content, very accurate, very entertaining, straight to the point, no BS, no nonsense.
Thank you so much. Be sure to sub to YugiohTube, the OG GOAT.
Yeah, I have not been uploading as much, unfortunately. Just a ton going on my end, but I do hope to get more uploads going. And a live stream. I do want to do a live stream before Christmas. So that's before December 25th, which is in like 2 weeks. I'm thinking of having a live stream. We will see that, or at least for the new year. Maybe we'll do that. So we will see. Well, thank you, Solemn Yugioh, again. I appreciate another quality episode. I think we've kind of run its course when in terms of IOC. I kind of don't even want to talk about IOC anymore. It's just...
Yeah, same.
So... Yes. Next.
Yeah, we covered it thoroughly. Always happy to be here. Like, this has been a blast to me. I hope we can do 200 more episodes of this.
This is fun, man. This is fun. It forces me to talk Yu-Gi-Oh for a long period of time and actually make like content. So I know I was talking to Ruxin and he was like, "Thank God someone's getting you out and just forcing you to make content." So no, but he loves it. I mean, we've had a lot of good feedback too. I saw on the first episode there was a lot of good stuff. So yeah, this will be on my channel. Episode 3 will be on Solemn's channel, and then we'll keep swapping. Any previews for episode 3, Solemn? What set were we looking to do? If you want to give out any sort of teasers.
I guess I'm a big MRL fan. We kind of already covered some stuff, but I think that's an exciting set. But maybe people can just like give their thoughts in the comments. Maybe they want to really hear about a specific one. But yeah, I don't know. My vote would be MRL, but if the entire comment section goes, no, do PGD or something like that, then I guess we can listen.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it, man. And until next week, next episode, I will see you later. Thanks for coming on, and looking forward to it.